Hey guys, it's Abby's MotorCityNerds, and I am very upset that a couple of my reviews for Interview with the Vampire got corrupted and just didn't work, but we're still going to talk about it. But right now, we're just going to talk about the finale. Hi to all new subscribers, welcome. We're on our way to 3K. We're small, but we're awesome, and I just want to talk about this so badly. This is the best show on TV. This deserves all the Emmys. I'm starting off with that. It's just facts. It's just true. But it was so good. First off, we have Daniel saving Louis here, where Louis saved Daniel back in the 70s, and I really like that. We found out where those rocks came from, huh? Armand got demoted, or we think he did. We're just going to soar right past that. Louis thinking of all the things to keep him sane, and we're reminded of his mom and his family and all these times with Lestat and him being young, and it was really beautiful, as usual, and I'm going to keep saying that throughout this. Armand says, because nobody was looking or paying attention to me, I went and got Louis out, and yada, yada, yada. And you have to remember that his super old blood is really strong, so it really helped Louis out when he was coming through those rocks. But then Louis crazy for a bit, and I didn't mind this. I liked it, but I felt like we kind of dilly-dallied here, but not really. Liked the mention of the scythe, but then changing it and not using it, but I still liked it. The whole time Armand's like, oh, go, Louis, run, Louis. And Louis' like, no, I got shit to do. When Louis said, I ain't worried about you, I was like, oh. I loved this so much. And rewatching it, I watched this twice. In rewatching it, when Louis asks Armand, did you save me? He waits a minute, and then he's like, yeah. And just knowing what's about to come out, I was like, oh, yeah, you did think about that for a second, didn't you? So because he thinks Armand saved him, he just tells him, don't be at the theater at curfew or whatever. And I always talk about this when I talk about the Game of Thrones finale, and the acting in that is, I always really like that Daenerys, Emilia Clarke, she gets real pissed after seeing the Red Keep, and I always took that as, that's what set her off, and I got vibes of that here with, when she burns down King's Landing, I got vibes of that here right before Louis, and the acting in this is so perfect, but when Jacob Anderson looks at the diaries, you can tell he's like, no, we're done here, no more dilly-dallying, light them up, and everybody goes up in flames, and I was like, oh, you just had your Daenerys Targaryen moment, and I really liked that. Because seeing this thing is enraging you. And in Game of Thrones, I always felt like when Daenerys sees the castle, the Red Keep, this thing that should have been mine, is when she's like, Snapville. We found out that Louis rigged the bikes to blow up the lady vampires. Loved that. Santiago ran through the sewer, and at first I thought Armand was the fourth one to get away, but then we find out later that was Sam. But Santiago and Louis are going at it. They're going at it. The other bikes blow up. They're going at it. They're taunting each other, and I really love that. But I loved how quickly we got rid of Santiago, where Louis was like, this isn't even a challenge. Kind of ties right into when you ran across the table and grabbed him by the tongue. Oh, and once again, and somebody brought this up in the comments, and I really love this, was when Louis started using Arun instead of Armand. He was trying to assert dominance over him, and he's doing it again here by calling him Francis, and remember who you are, Francis. And I was like, oh, it was all very, very good. This was entertaining from start to finish. It was, once again, a perfect finale. But I did like when Santiago said, is your companion with you? And he says, we broke up. I was like, oh, yeah, we broke up. And music, the way music was being used when it was burning stuff down in the end, when he says, Siri, stop, but it's also being used as kind of background music. Just music in general throughout this episode was flawlessly done, and I really liked it a lot, to the point where I noticed it enough. Armand gets out, right? And after the fire and after everything, him and Louis are talking. And I liked how they had the sunlight coming through the window right in between them, like showing one's on one side and one's on the other. Like, this is a fight, but with words. But he asks him, when did you start lying to me? And he says, since the night you changed Madeline. So he's like, for a minute. So for a minute, you were BSing me. Thanks, Armand. You love me so much, right? Toxic, toxic, toxic. But like we found out in this season, we found out Louis was pretty toxic too. We found out a lot. When Louis said, why didn't you think to make a plan with me? That's when I totally knew for sure Armand is a scumbag. And I always thought he was going to be a scumbag, but now I really know he's a scumbag. A totally rational, normal thing to say, why didn't you make a plan with me? Why didn't you tell me what was going on? We found out Lestat is still in Paris, and we're going to go talk to him, and Louis is really going to dump him for good, and it was really, really sad. But we go to where Magnus lived, and this is where we got a huge name drop right out of Lestat's mouth, and it was great. And it was when he said, yeah, you guys can try and burn me and all this crap, and then he goes, I have the blood of Magnus, and he's like, and Armand says, yeah, Magnus burned too, and he goes, I have the blood of Akasha. Now, Akasha is Queen of the Damned. Yeah, that's big. That's a big drop, but that's the oldest blood ever. That's the most powerful blood. So he's saying You don't know who you're messing with. And who was he talking to when he said this, though? Because he looks at Louis, but I thought he was taunting Armand. But I thought he was saying it about Louis. Oh, he doesn't know who that is, does he? Or does Armand not know who that is? Is that, and he's saying it to Louis to come at Armand, because he's like, he's looking at Louis and he says, oh, and he doesn't know who that is. And I'm thinking, rewatching it, he was making fun of Armand not knowing, like, haha, something I know more than you. I know more than you, actually. And you hype up that you're this old creature, and I've got something on you. But the first time I watched it, I thought he was saying it about Louis not knowing who that is. Because even in that same scene, Louis says, your blood is my blood. And that's a big thing to say. And rewatching that scene, knowing that Armand is full of it, is heartbreaking. And Louis says, but here's your death, Lestat, and then says he's going to be with Armand, and then kisses him in front of him, and it was super, super sad. Here's where things got real crazy. Here's where we went off to the races. The script comes out, right? The script for the play comes out with the notes and the margins, and as a viewer, we're starting to realize what's going on. We're like, oh, snap. But not fully yet. And Daniel hasn't given it over to Louis yet. And he's going hard with the questions, and Armand knows the jig is up, and he's panicking the whole time, and then he gives Louis the script, and we realize fully he was totally involved with this. Lestat, and I'm pissed off because, like I said, my other reviews got all jacked up, and I was very upset about it and very discouraged. But no. I was thinking even then, Lestat is saving Louis. It's not Armand. It's Lestat. But I didn't think... They totally fooled me. I was like, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Maybe it was Armand. Find out that Sam got away, and we watch this flashback, and this acting by Sam Reed when he said, you don't know what strength Claudia has, and he's getting defensive, and he's saying it like a guttural from his stomach thing. He's not playing around when he says that to Armand. He's proud of who she is. Santiago don't move. Nobody's moving. They're all in fear of Lestat, and he's just talking to Armand any kind of way, and I really loved that, and I loved seeing this whole thing, and we find out it was always Lestat who saved Louis. It was not Armand. And Armand and Louis start fighting, and I'm like, oh, we're back to this toxic behavior, but no, beat his ass. Beat his ass, Louis, because he was going to kill you. He was going to have you killed. They're thrashing and bashing about. Daniel starts getting texts from the Talamasca telling him, you need to get out of there, you need to get out of there. And like he's been getting told, and I'm assuming it's going to get brought up in season 3 and we'll find more out, look out for Louis. That's what he kept getting told by these people. Louis is the one you need to worry about. And then it was Armand the entire time. Or did Daniel want that and ask for it? But we do find out that Armand has been able to change people to vampires this entire time and was totally bullshitting Louis. Louis going home. Louis going home. Louis hearing the accents. Louis, that was... I loved it. And seeing him so happy and smiling and hearing the story about his house and this urban legend thing, you could tell he was really enjoying himself, and I loved that. And I loved that he was like giggling at the guy telling the stories for his job and stuff, but he wasn't trying to make him feel bad. Like, he was covering his face, and he was just like, I'm not trying to mess this guy up. It's just funny hearing what they say about us now. But I really thought that was just... Like I keep saying about this acting, he knows this character. Like, Louis wouldn't want somebody to feel, even though he's an immortal being, he still wouldn't want to make this human who's looked at as beneath them by a lot of them. I don't want to make him feel bad. I'm not trying to mess up his gig. And that little part of his personality comes through in that little gesture, and I really loved that. But then Louis looks over when he's in that little crowd, right? And he sees somebody snatching up rats, and he follows them. Now, Lestat's a little off, right? Because he's been recluse in this shitty apartment. Like, he's a little off, right? I'm not saying he's not all there. I think he's all there, but he's just not doing great, correct? Now, this fledgling that he follows, he was only there for a minute, but I liked the fire on him to tell him to shut up. And he says that was for you, a nod to you, Louis. Lestat is practicing on a wooden keyboard with the music playing, and I like how they kind of make him seem a little out there and crazy, but when he says, I'm going on tour, I'm like, that's another nod to Akasha, right? That's what Lestat does. But this scene between these two was so good, it made me cry. Not just the first time I watched it, but the second time I watched it. And they're back and forth and having a mutual understanding that we hurt each other. We were bad for each other. And then just hugging at the end. I thought that spoke volumes that they didn't kiss. It wasn't this romantic thing. It is, but it isn't. It's as humans, not as vampires, we feel for each other with all the shit we did to one another. For the loss of Claudia, for all of that. And it said more than hey, we're just happy and getting back together and we're meant to be. It was something sadder than that, but the way Lestat and Louis talk throughout that scene about so many things is breathtakingly beautiful. I don't say that lightly. I mean that. Louis asks him, did you save my life? And Lestat goes, I don't want to, he goes, why didn't you tell me? He goes, I don't speak about my virtues. And it's just like, man, Lestat, and it's sad. It's so sad. And Louis telling him, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me that you saved me? He goes, I gave you to Armand. Was that saving you? Oh my God, it was heartbreaking. But then when he started to cry and said that Claudia looked to him like a father to save her and he couldn't. Oh my God. Oh my God. And then we get hit in the gut even harder, which is when Lestat starts saying, September 8th, 1973, September 8th, 1973, September 8th, 1973. That was when Armand called and is talking about when he called and said, is Louis hurt? Is Louis okay? What happened? And Armand isn't telling Louis fully what he said, like a jerk. And Lestat starts crying and is like, did you hurt yourself? And how that it was so sad. It was so sad. And then they just hug. They just hug and they hold each other because they know all the stuff that they did back and forth to one another and how much they really did care about each other or do. I'm sorry for the lawnmower. It was beautiful. It was beautifully done. And then we cut to Daniel on the news with the book, all this stuff, telling this newscaster off, wearing sunglasses inside, looking crazy. And he's talking about this book. This book is real. This book is real. Yada, yada, yada. We find out that Talamasca are the ones that had to print it or whatever or publish it because nobody else would. Nobody believed him. But him and the newscaster go back and forth, and then he's leaving, and we think he's calling Louis, but he's really not. He's really using his head powers that he has now, and he takes off the sunglasses, and we see that he's a vampire now. He brings up the fact that Armand made him. But he doesn't seem like he likes him, but I think that's bull. But like Louis said to Lestat, I'm companion enough for myself now. He's not with Lestat in the end. He's waiting with his feet in the rocks, telling all these other vampires, this was the best part. This was so good. Louis, and this is exactly this character has been from the beginning, telling all these other vampires to pull up in their little vampire telephone head brain stuff. He's like, if you got a problem, pull up, my door's unlocked, and we can have it out because I run this shit. I own the night. I'm awesome. I'm Batman now. And it was awesome. It was great. That was the best part of the episode. I couldn't believe they ended it that way. I was like, stop it. I was like, we're going to stop it with Louis telling everybody to pull up. You're not going to do shit to me. That was sick. That was awesome. But this show is out of this world good, and I really do feel like it is not getting the credit it deserves, and I'm still going to upload my other reviews once I figure out how to fix this, because this happened once before, and everything started getting corrupted, or nothing was recording correctly, and I was like, why is this happening now? Of course this is happening now. But my House of the Dragon reviews are up, and I still got to do that today, too. But no, this is the best show on TV. This is the best show on TV, and I want AMC to know what they have. They need to know what they have, because it's so good. And I think we are going to do Queen of the Damned stuff. And I was saying this, the way that they are folding all the books into the Interview with the Vampire title is masterfully done, and staying true to these characters. And it's amazing, and I love it, and I'm here for it. And I'm Abby with MotorCityNerds. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you thought. We're going to answer comments today. We're going to make a couple more videos, and then we're going to try to go live and talk about the entire series as a whole.